Today
Recording in progress.
today is the big day to think of how far flung we have come and how far we have to go. Along with multifarious struggles and triumphs, there is much more to thrive and much more to show.
A very warm good morning to all you present here. Today, I, Palak Bajpayee,
And I, Soumya Bhama,
welcome our honored management, well-acclaimed chief guest, guest of honors, all treasure invitees, teachers, and of course our sterling participants and the students to Dialectic Debate Competition. DME Management School, in association with Outreach Cell, is pleased to inform our audience that we have organized this inter-school debate competition in order to celebrate the birthday of our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, which was on October 15th.
how lovely is this day, and so does the vibe and aura surrounding it. Soon the colors of this merriment will unfold and will transport us to another world. Today, we have brilliant students who will compete in debate competition and share their views about the topic. The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom and will bring out their hidden aptitude.
Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, is a premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi. DME imparts education in the field of law, management, and journalism. With a law course approved by Bar Council of India, the institute is located in Sector 62, Noida.
Ladies and gentlemen, before calling the participants, let me first introduce our honorable panel of juries. We have with us Ms. Vandana Kadian. Ma'am is a senior consultant in TCS and has 2-decade-long diverse experience leading strategic relationships with a portfolio of clients in IT services and outsourcing landscape. She has extensive experience leading complex projects across regions in almost all segments, including banking, telecom, retail, TTH, and EPC. Ms. Kadian has held key leadership roles as client partner, program management consultant, solution delivery manager, and bid manager for large growth and transformation deals, managing overall relationships with P&L responsibility for the account and end-to-end portfolio of services, demonstrating value in solving IT and business problems. Ma'am has completed her MTech in Energy Studies from IIT Delhi and MSc Physics from Hindu College, University of Delhi. We feel privileged to have you on board, ma'am.
Let me take the opportunity to welcome Ms. Niha Singh as a second panel for the day. Ms. Singh has done her PG Diploma in Mass Communication from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, KG Marg, New Delhi, and Masters of Business Administration from Dayanand Dinanath College of Management, Kanpur. Currently, she is pursuing digital marketing from IIADM Institute. Ma'am has 1.5 years of experience in India Today Group as an area sales manager and second year of progressive experience as an assistant manager and reporter for NIE program by Hindustan Times Media Limited. Ma'am recently got Sarojini Naidu Award for her work experience. We are honored to have you on board, ma'am. Before moving forward, I would like to request the head of the Department of DME Management School, Professor Dr. Purva Ranjan ma'am, to share her views and encourage our participants.
Thank you, dear students. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
So I would request all the participants and honorable guests to please switch on the video so that we all are able to see each other. In better times to come, we'll be hosting such events at the campus. So it's a humble request that all the participants please come online. You're online, but please come on video so that we are able to see you and address you in person. So I'm just giving you a quick 10 seconds. Please switch on your camera. So Sangini, Afreen, Monica, Mamta, Neha, Shubhi. It is so wonderful and delightful to see youthful, young, vibrant audience here. So before we begin, I just want to set the theme here that DME Management School takes privilege, and it's a great day for us to have you all here, because as per the vision of the former President Dr. Kalam, it is the youth of India which are going to take India forward. And right now we have collaborated on this forum. We have a representation of schools, that is up to 10+2 that you all are here. Then the volunteers are from the college level, BBA students. Then we have a representation of the arm of country which runs the economic cycle, brings the money in circulation, that is the industry by the Vanda ma'am. And we have mirror of society, that is the media group by Niha ma'am. So we have all the right stakeholders together at this point of time. And together we can deliberate, that is the theme of the event, that the backbenchers can also run or not run the society in the appropriate way. We'll be looking forward to your views for and against. And that will also give us a lot of food for thought as a representation of the academic fraternity, that is Dr. Shalini and myself, to ensure that once the students come from the school to us at the college level to pursue management, journalism, and law, in what way we have to shape these young minds, whether they enter industry, they enter media, they enter management field, they enter law, in what way they are going to fulfill the dream of Dr. Kalam to make India the way that he dreamt it to be. So now I'm moving ahead, not much to say, looking forward to hear from you all and the inputs of the judges. This whole event is being coordinated by the team Catalyst, which is the event and the cultural arm of DME Management School. They run and they host such interesting events. We'll be having so many more events like business idea, business plan, and right now we are having a debate competition with all the vibrant audience here. And one more request, children, that when other participants will be presenting their thoughts, encourage them, motivate them, be an attentive audience, because they will reciprocate the same for you. It's a very close group of audience. So I would urge and request all of you to be on camera so that we can see that motivation and encouraging reflections on your face for all the participating members here. So over to Shalini ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I would also like to mention here that many of the teachers have kindly agreed and consented to be here. So I can see many names here with whom we were in touch. Monica ma'am, Rumpa ma'am, Mamta ma'am, all of you are here. Thank you so much for joining in. If you know,
so wonderful, Shalini ma'am. I really applaud you for bringing all of us together.
Yes,
so we have
are also here.
Entire academic fraternity from school to college. We have industry, we have media, and we have students. Nothing better than that.
Yes. So probably to start with, why can't we, all the teachers also, because I've just seen the names, you can just switch on the camera. We can, quickly have one good memorable photograph, and then we can start with the event so that all of us are on the one screen at least. So I would request all the teachers also who have taken time out of their busy schedule to join us to please switch on their cameras. Yes, so ma'am, we can probably take a quick screenshot. Many of them have switched on. Yeah. I think we are all good to go now. Thank you so much for joining in, all the teachers and all the academic fraternity. So Purva ma'am, I think we can start now with the debate presentations.
Yes, let's go ahead with the plan
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, Palak, over to you, beta.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those
everyone.
words of wisdom.
Rules for the dialectic debate competition are: each student would be getting 4 to 5 minutes to speak on the topic. Students would be informed after 4 minutes and if required would be given 1 more minute. The student has to finish talking in 5 minutes compulsory. It is compulsory to switch on the videos when a student is presenting. Ensure good network connectivity. All the teams need to compulsorily present during the entire session and not just when they are putting across their views. The results would be declared at the end of the session. There is individual as well as team prizes. The decisions of judges would be final. Now I see all the participants are ready to come forward and share the view about the given title. So who is
Just a minute, Soumya. Just wanted to confirm from the judges, Ms. Vandana and Ms. Neha, you have your judge sheet with you already, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, so I would request both of
Yes,
you to
I
please
have it.
keep on give marks to the students on the basis of the criteria which we have shared with you. And at the end of the event, you can share that Excel sheet with us so that we can decide upon the winners. So 2 individual judges would be judging you students. So after we get the marks from both of them, we are going to see who's going to be emerged as a winner, right? Please go ahead, Soumya.
All the best, guys.
All the best.
So, who is going to break the ice? Ladies and gentlemen, our first speakers are from Bal Bharti Public School, Noida, Natasha Chauhan and Sangini Verma.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible. Okay, so your time starts now, Natasha.
Bill Gates has rightly said, if you want to pass, ask the first bench student. If you want success, ask last bench students. A very good morning to one and all present here. Today, I, Natasha, student of class 12, would like to express my views for the motion. The best brains of the nation may be found at the last benches of the classroom. A nation does not consider whether a person is a front bencher or a back bencher. What matters is the fact that how a person contributes towards the development of the nation. Do you think it is right to judge a person solely on the basis of the criteria or the position where he sits in a classroom? I strongly disagree with this way of identifying the best brains for our nation because this is irrelevant in real world scenario. The topic itself highlights the word may, which indicate there is the possibility to find the best brain working at the last benches. And there is no doubt about it. Being the best brain does not necessarily mean academic excellence. Backbenchers have a different mindset. They may require more time to analyze a particular situation, but at the same time, they have the capacity to think out of the box solutions, which are efficient and they can be devised in the minimum time span. They are the most of the creative slot that come up with the unexpected questions and craziest of the ideas that one could ever imagine. They are the dreamers. They have their futuristic approach, which make them a better option to shape our country's future. The love for their last bench and the remote corners of the classroom can be attributed to their pensive thinking process. My dear friends, when we talked about backbenchers, we usually refer to a generalized perception, but sometimes perceptions may be misleading. We assume that backbenchers are lazy, uninterested, not good at studies, etc. But there are other reasons too. There is not lack of knowledge. There may be lack of prowess. That's why they prefer to sit at the last to cultivate that skill within themselves. For example, if a person who has studied throughout his life in his vernacular went for higher studies where they have been taught in different vernaculars, so the person may find it more comfortable to sit at the last bench of the classroom in order to get familiar with the environment and get hold of the language first. I strongly believe that backbenchers are more productive because they know how to divide their time judiciously according to their priorities. You all will agree with the fact that backbenchers are the ones who study as well as enjoy their life to the fullest. And what's wrong in sitting at the last bench as far as you are focused and working towards your goal diligently? The best brain can help the nation to shape and progress only when they are expressive enough to express their opinion about something. And it is mostly found that the last benchers are very vocal about their views. That's why the last bench of the classroom also represent freedom and expression of our future generation. I hope my fellow debaters will also agree with the fact that the person who prefer to sit at the last bench have faced failure in their lives. And my dear friend, these failures help them to transform into go-getters. That is the reason why backbenchers like Ritesh Agarwal turned out into successful entrepreneurs, because they have learned from their mistakes and have gained practical knowledge during their life that the so-called front bencher failed to access through their school life or college life. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam himself preferred to be a backbencher, but still he mapped the journey from selling newspaper and then later on becoming the people's president. The founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, used to sit at the last of the classroom, but still he was successful in his field. It is because of their risk-taking abilities, their perception, their passion and dedication towards achieving something which they enjoyed doing. And that's the quality of backbenchers which make them different from the rest of the students and help them to contribute toward the progress of the country. I believe that it's high time that we shed this cliche of age-old perception and this tagging the backbenchers as the so-called not at good fellows. Like
Sorry to
the
interrupt.
best words.
Please wind up. You have only 1 minute left.
Yes, I'm just winding up. Just as the last words come as the best at the last, similarly, the best minds may be found at the last benches of the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Can we have Sangini?
Yeah, good morning. Actually, we have some network issues, so I'm Sangini here, joining with Natasha's ID. So, am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Shall I begin?
Yeah, your time starts now.
Honorable jury members and teachers, a warm good morning to you all. Today, I, Sangini Verma, stand before you to express my views against the motion that best brains of the nation may be found on last benches of the classroom. By now, you must have admitted the affirmative views of the argument. But can you perceive where the contrast between backbenchers and frontbenchers lie? Frontbenchers embrace hard work. They love the discipline of it and the trade-off they are making to win. Backbenchers, on the other hand, see this as a punishment, and that's where the difference lies. I would like to highlight the statement of Safin Hassan. He is the youngest IPS officer, and he says, deserve before you desire. In order to deserve something, there are certain qualities which are necessary, such as confidence, decision-making, and total involvement. But how, my dear friends? Obviously, not by sitting at the last benches of the classroom. As it is very rightly said by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, that without involvement, you can't succeed, and with involvement, you can't fail. This statement perfectly fits this argument. Backbenchers don't involve themselves in class discussions, and hence their confidence level goes down. I am sure you all must have heard this statement, that students are like diamond, cut and polish them to make them shine. I agree that this is the responsibility of the teacher to make them shine, but avoid ringing with one hand. The teacher cannot do anything if the student is not interactive, because students also need to be interactive. Now, I would like to throw some light on the old age perception about backbenchers. Before that, I would like to convey something, that if we are perceiving something, that is only because we have experienced that or seen around us. So if there is a perception that backbenchers are lazy or disinterested, That is only because by sitting on the last bench of the classroom, no student can attain any useful skill other than finding solutions for escaping from a particular problem. Now, I would like to throw some light on dependency. It is something that backbenchers dependent on frontbenchers for many things like notes, assignments, etc. Because they are not attentive in the class, and most of the time they don't even know what is going on in the class. So may I take the privilege to say that at times backbenchers may become copy masters. Dreams come at a price of honest blood, fearless toil, and God's word fearing. Backbenchers always try to find shortcuts which may be helpful in short run, but not in the long run. They try to escape from many problems. They are shrunkers. They always prefer to remain placid, although not pensive, because they are the ones who are mainly indulged in peer gathering and always believe in partying and enjoying themselves. So by sitting on the last benches and enjoying, my friends, do you really think that such children will make a mark in being self-reliant and framing a new India? The thought is yours. So here I would like to reiterate the famous quote of Swami Vivekananda: arise, awake, and stop not till you achieve. So do you think that backbenchers will arise, awake, and achieve? I leave to you. In our country, the opportunity seekers are huge in numbers and opportunities are very less. So if we don't if we don't come in front, then obviously we lag behind and won't be able to win the race. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So our next speaker is from Army Public School, Shankar Vihar. And speaker speaking for against is Freya Dhaliwal, and speaking for the motion is Freya Dhaliwal, and against the motion is Arshia Malviya.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Freya, your time starts now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Freya Dhaliwal of Einstein Public School, Shankar Vihar, and I'll be proposing my points for the topic. The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. I believe backbenchers are more than just a few people sitting in the last bench of the class. Azim Premji, Kailash Katkar, and Ritesh Agarwal are the people who were the dropouts who turned out to be successful in life. Backbenchers doesn't just restrict to the four walls of a classroom, but also represent the academic progress of a child, where we find the differently abled people or the economically backward people in the society. Examples like Hassan Safin, who slept on an empty stomach on most days and helped out his parents while working and studying, had topped the UPSC exams in 2017. Or Tapasya Parihar, coming from the village in Madhya Pradesh, a farmer's daughter who secured 23rd rank out of 990 other candidates. Or taking the example of Ira Singhal, who topped the civil services exam in 2014 while being differently abled. Even though they were backbenchers of the society, they proved to be the brightest brains of the nation in more than one way. Now, to look at the literal sense, the backbenchers are the ones that have the view of the world. They see the world happening on and about as they're going on with their class. As they're going on with their class, which not only gives them a free mind when they get too tired by studying, but also enhances the observation skills as well as the multitasking skills. They are the creative and productive minds of the class. If you want to decorate the display board or help out a hassle teacher, they are at your disposal. They are also independent learners as they are more likely to study apart from just the teachings of the class. The personality is more likely to be charming, funny, kind, caring, and generous. They are the spark and light of the classroom, and above all, they create friendships that last a lifetime and memories to look back upon. They are willing to take a risk, try new things, which makes them outgoing, adventurous, and loved by all for who they are. In other words, they are not afraid of failure. There are such examples of world-renowned people who weren't concerned about sitting on the first bench, them being Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg. They are the people that ended up creating Facebook. Now, in addition to owning WhatsApp and Instagram, developing the theory of relativity and development in quantum mechanics, or creating the brand of Apple that changed the course of technology. To conclude, I would like to say toppers are successful in school and life, school and colleges, but it's the backbenchers that are successful in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Freya. Can we have Arsha?
Yes.
Okay, Arsha, your time starts now.
The old stereotypes go as such. Front benchers are serious, backbenchers jolly good fellows. Front benchers are mentally strong. Backbenchers excel physically. Front benchers are mild. The backbenchers daredevils. Front benchers are careful. The back careless. My basic question is, when did we stereotype this? When did we decide that people sitting on the last cannot do anything while the people sitting in the front will never fail? Over these 2 years, education has gone a surprising change. Classrooms are no longer just bricks with teachers and students in it. Both learning and classrooms have had their boundaries blurred. In such a situation, the drive, passion, and the fire of the students are the only factors that dictate a learner's success. 2,700 years ago, Socrates of Athens rested the case that education is not the filling of a vessel, but rather the kindling of a flame. I shall seek to propound the understanding that this flame does not care about what bench you sit on, how much money you earn, or what caste or creed you belong to. It is ubiquitous, like the tributaries of a river. It spread its tentacles everywhere, and proposing that this flame does not affect each and every one of us is nothing less than gross disrespect. What we have to understand is that benches have nothing to do with brains. In this 21st century, in the online era of education, it is pretty evident that every one of us is a front bencher and every one of us is a backbencher. Last year has proven that benches, location, boundaries, or even time does not matter to the students. With the availability of technology, it had opened numerous horizons for the students. And whether you agree or not, will stay with us and be a part of the school life in the coming times. Now, my fellow mates might question me, asking about the lack of availability of technology in a country like India with a growing population. I would just like to remind them that India is one of the largest developing countries of the world, and that the day will also arrive shortly when India will be a tough competition to countries like the US. As said by John Cena, and I quote, "You might say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one." All this must sound very ideal to everyone, miles away from reality. But only when we dare to dream is a time when we actually work for it and get it. And making the ideal reality is what the 21st century students are working for. Thank you.
Thank you, Arsha. So our next participants are from Ryan International School, Noida Extension. The speaker is speaking for the motion is Shubhi Gupta, and against the motion is R. Vidya Lakshmi. Can we have Shubhi Gupta and R. Vidya Lakshmi?
Yes, good morning. Can you please check if I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible. So Shubhi, your time starts now.
They are troublemakers and beyond repair. They do not attentive in class and went blank when they're asked about it. Of who do you think I'm talking about? Just figure it out. The infamous backbenchers in every school and college often had to face a lot of flack from the parents and teachers. And I believe that we can't generalize students and their intelligence by the position that they're sitting in the classroom or the marks they get. It is eventually assumed by many of the people that backbenchers are weak in studies. And people often tend to think that these type of students are low in academics. But the fact that is neglected is that these children could also be introvert or shy, and due to which they find it hard to interact with teachers and therefore are comparatively less interested in studies. Also, generalizing backbenchers as an apathetic flock is unfair and unjustified. And I believe what should matter here is how attentive you are during the class proceedings. After all, school is about fostering your interest and finding a way to better showcase yourself. One huge example in the Indian history is the late President, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who once during his speech admitted that he too was a last bencher during his school times. Benjamin Franklin, Albert Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, they all were lackluster students, but they grew up to be successful in their lives. Another legendary man, Bill Gates, he said that I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. Here the point being that backbenchers are those lazy persons who from time to time and again have proven to be the real heroes. They may have not known the Pythagoras theorem or when Alexander died during the school times, but because of their capable of retaining the information. Because yes, every style is different. Just look around yourself. You, me, we all are learners, and in real world, are the ones who big dream always the doers? Mostly not. My dear audience, what meant is here is not to be studious all the time and try to balance your social life with student life. And just like the backbenchers, most
Sorry to interrupt, but you have only 1 minute left.
okay. After the teachers, it is the backbenchers who keep an eye on every student. And not to be offended teachers, they certainly knows it all. They hold the determination to not try to think of many things, but they come to with responsibility. The Indian education system, as well as the millennial parents, need to change the way they view backbenchers. Steve Jobs, Dhirubhai Ambani, Mark Zuckerberg, these are some famous person and successful in their life. All those who have admitted to be the backbenchers in their life. If paid with proper attention and a healthy classroom environment, they can beat front benches because it is possible that they have a more creative side of them and couldn't be polished. And yes, this being said, the best brains of the nation may also be found on the last benches of classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have Arvidya Lakshmi?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good morning to our honorable guests, teachers, and all my fellow Rhinites. I, Vidya, is speaking against the motion for the topic, the best brains of the nation may be found at the last benches of the classroom. As my fellow classmates said about backbenchers, I just want to say that we can't generalize students' intelligence by their position of sitting in their classroom. Like, it's not necessary that all backbenchers succeed in their life. We only know those backbenchers who have achieved something in their life, but we are not focusing on the major population who have not succeeded in their life. If we take like 20% succeeds and 80% not, by this we cannot conclude that they have the best brains and they can only take the future forward. For example, I would like to say great actors like Anushka Sharma, Shraddha Kapoor, both were toppers. They all scored great. That doesn't mean they are not successful. It depends on how, for a nation, it's mean how you do and how you give to your nation. Backbenchers may be creative and they maybe use their mind in a different way. But being just creative and using your mind, that's not all you need. You need basic knowledge and basic intelligence also. Like, there is a very famous quote which states that the main hope for a nation lies on the education of people. When we think about backbenchers, we always say that, they are lazy. Yes, they are lazy. They don't participate in class, but that doesn't mean, they can be a good future. For this, we need to do hard work and determination. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next speaker is from Delhi World Public School, Noida Extension. For the motion, we have Mudita Negi, and speaking for against the motion, we have Devangi Raman.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, so your time starts now, Mudita.
Okay. A backbencher jovially mentions, a first bench student knows the answer to every problem, but the last bench student knows how to tackle every problem. Often, the intelligence of a student is labeled according to his or her seating in a classroom area. Therefore, students in a classroom setup can be bifurcated into two specific categories: the front benchers and the back benchers, the conventionally bright and unconventionally bright students. Good morning to one and all present here. Today, I, Niha Singh, feel privileged to speak for the motion that the best brains of our nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. And I would like to stand with the back benchers and be their voice of discourse. Front benchers are deemed to be the studious lot of students who are always in good books of teachers. On the contrary, the back benchers are labeled as mischievous, disoriented, not a good listener, and a low scorer. So the rhetorical question is, are backbenchers entitled for being dull in studies and being the troublemakers? Or does it mean that the front and the middle benchers are styled as intelligent lot by teachers? In my opinion, generalizing the backbenchers as a mischievous flock is unfair and unjustified, because the scoring process in the examination is to test students' cognitive learning and understanding of the knowledge acquired. Student mannerism and student knowledge judgment are two different status quo. For instance, if a student scores 20 out of 80 in mathematics, would you believe that he or she sat in the front bench for an entire year? It is obvious you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Now I would like to throw some light upon the academic system, which goes back to late 1800s, where schools were introduced to teach obedience, and the rise of industrial evolution gave rise to demand for workers for big factories and corporations. So its main purpose was to create compliant and obedient workers who wouldn't raise their voice against any system. Hence came into being is the standardized test system, which continues to be a factory of producing a student lot to fit into the working system as desired and molded in according to the socio-economic variables. But my friends, the world is moving to an entrepreneurial and innovation-driven economy. The world needs creators, artists, hackers, and innovators. I would like to quote some examples to prove my point. Albert Einstein, the greatest physicist of the world, had always passed with grace marks in his examination. But the irony is that he is considered the most intelligent person even today. Isaac Newton, a lackluster student, graduated at Trinity College in Cambridge without an assurance of honors and distinction. Sir Winston Churchill was famously at the bottom of his class. Thomas Alva Edison, the quintessential American inventor, was called out in class as being addled, someone who's mentally ill. Now I would like to ask my worthy opponent, will you say that these people are witless? If they were evaluated on the basis of their marks, we wouldn't have been studying science or arts or commerce based on their research and findings. We have been brainwashed our entire lives that in order to be successful, we need to be diligent, get good grades, and ultimately become a front seater to get a diploma, which is a ticket to high-paying jobs. However, Robert Kiyosaki, a famous businessman and author, in his book, Why A Students Work for C Students, wrote that the things are actually the other way around. It has been observed that in most cases, these backbenchers are found to be more successful than the front benchers. Now you may ask how. The reason is pretty simple. Backbenchers are more sold on the practical approach.
Sorry to interrupt, Mudita. Your time is almost over.
Okay, just I'm winding up.
Yes.
The reason is pretty simple. Backbenchers are more sold on the practical approach than the theoretical method. They are more outspoken and believe in what Friedrich Nietzsche once said, the doer alone learneth. Categorizing a student's caliber on where they sit is unjust. In fact, most of my class toppers, including me, sit on the last bench. We might be amongst the most mischievous students, but that is how we like to learn. So here I rest my case with all my praises for the backbenchers, who not only rule the last benches, but are the emperors of their own territory. Yes, my friends, they are the reasons behind all the laughs, tears, words, and emotions in the form of innocent remembrance. Shiv Khera, in his golden words, once stated that backbenchers may sleep during the lectures, but they dream with their eyes open. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have Devangi Raman?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, and your time starts now.
Talent hits the target no one else can hit, but genius hits the target no one else can see. A great and intellectual mind aptly quoted that sincerity, dedication, and honesty is the key to humongous success and incredible victory. People of integrity turn triumphant, and commitment makes dreams come true. A very pleasant morning to honorable judges and my fellow competitors. Today, I, Devangi Raman, through this platform, going against the motion, want to wake all those up who have been very strongly disillusioned about the topic, the best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. Let me begin by quoting the views of a very eminent and renowned professor, M.S. Rao, who classifies students into 3 categories. The first being the most studious and attentive ones, classified as front benchers, then the average ones, classified as middle benchers, and lastly, below average, or the troublemakers, known as backbenchers. Most commonly, frontbenchers are the highest scorers in exams, outperforming the backbenchers who find themselves involved in mischief. At the same time, steadiness, firm determination, and relentless passion find a home in every task done by frontbenchers. According to my fellow teammate, marks in examinations are not a testimony of a student's true intelligence. Well, I would want her to introspect and recognize that those who know better do better. And the score of a student does, in fact, reflect his ability to grasp the information being supplied to them. And therefore, knowing less means performing less. I want all of you to think, is this inability really a sign of smartness and intelligence? Nowadays, it has become a general notion that backbenchers are more successful in life. But is this really true? If backbenchers are the smartest brains of the nation, then undoubtedly cheating in exams must be the best way of making students smart, isn't it? Where on one hand, frontbenchers work extremely hard to score well on exams, backbenchers, despite using tricks such as cheating, get entitled as the best brains of the nation. How ironical is that? I don't entirely oppose the fact that backbenchers are successful in life. However, we all know that the class which gives the highest average score is recognized as the best, and not the one that gives only one school topper and the rest of the students as below average. Similarly, generalizing the backbenchers under the cover of just 1 to 2% of very successful people does not mean that the rest of the 98% population will be equally successful. I would like to ask my fellow teammate, which mind is considered more developed? The one with the rare quality of focus in today's distracted world, or the one that thinks only of mischief? Who is considered a more valuable resource? A person with a passion for success in academics, or someone with an intelligence never utilized to its fullest potential? We all tend to talk about hard work and dedication, but is it really that easy for us to leave our principles behind and declare the backbenchers as smarter than the extremely hardworking frontbenchers? Now, for a moment, I want all of you to imagine yourselves as the CEO of a big company. Whom do you intend to hire? A person who knows how to work hard till the end and has an immense ability to take the company out of any crisis, or someone who isn't well qualified and tries to flee in drastic situations? I believe my words have reached everyone, especially the backbenchers. Hope they haven't been dozing off. I would like to conclude by saying that the efforts of studious students, which often fall under the shadow of the so-called extremely successful backbenchers, needs to be recognized. With this, I would like to rest my case with the beautiful lines. People who succeed have both momentum and intelligence. The more they succeed, the more they want to succeed, and the more they find a way to succeed because they have the will and brain to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Devangi. So our next participants are from Modern School. For speaking for the motion is Ayushi Bhutani, and speaking against the motion, we have Shivansh Mishra. Do we have Ayushi Bhutani?
Yes, ma'am, I am here.
Okay, so Ayushi, your time starts now.
Last benchers don't have books in hands, but creative ideas in minds. Good morning to one and all present over here. Today, I, Ayushi Bhutani of class 12 from Modern School, is standing in front of you all, presenting my views for the motion. The best brains of the nation may be found at the back benches of the classroom. A classroom is everyone's most memorable place. For students who have passed out their school, always finds a way returning back to their classes, remembering all the beautiful memories and the fun they had in their childhood. Generally, it is believed that first benchers are A grade students and last benchers are C and D graders. Is it really true? I want to ask my worthy opponents, can we decide the status of one's mind based on the place where he or she sits in the classroom? Not really. According to a research, many of the scientists who have showcased remarkable performances in the future were considered as backbenchers in their childhood. Intelligence is not only about scoring well, but an enthusiastic approach defines its beauty. The one with a bright mind is always focused, exploring the best through innovation. Remember, where there is a will, there is a way. While we compare first benchers with the last ones, it is obvious that teachers would have more influence on the first benchers. But I want to clarify, does this imply that backbenchers always waste their time? Or we should say they utilize their time, exploring the best out of them. No matter either on the first bench or on the last one, they're always busy in making them best according to their area of interest. Can it be making portraits or imagining the future invention? A well-known personality, Albert Einstein, is a very good example, who was always busy in his own innovation, did not pay any heed to orthodox methodology of teaching. He was always an enthusiastic person in his own terms. He was also expelled out from the school, but also he did not lose his interest in physics. He was always and always busy in himself. Some of the qualities which differentiates first benchers with the last ones is humorous attitude possessed by backbenchers towards life, which help them to succeed at a great extent. In a classroom, students are expected to exhibit behaviorism, avoiding mistakes, and on committing mistakes, we get punished severely. Why our brain functions differently, where we only learn by making mistakes, climbing the ladder of success. Highlighting this statement, backbenchers are the ones who lie on top for making mistakes. Now, it's a hard time to realize that students are like diamonds who need proper support and guidance from their teachers. As we all know, diamonds never lose their shine wherever they are, always shining. Same goes for the youthful students. Students should always be supported by their teachers according to their area of interest, exploring the best out of them. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam once said, "Where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. And where there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the world." So build your character, not your scoreboard. At last, but not the least.
Interrupt Ayushi. You have only 1 minute left. Please wind up.
Okay, ma'am. I'm just winding up. At last, but not the least, I wholeheartedly favor the motion. The best brains of the nation may be found at the back benches of the classroom. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Ayushi. Can we have Shivansh Mishra?
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning to all. Good morning to all jury members and all the participants. Your attitude will determine your altitude. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shivansh Mishra of class 12 of Modern School, Faridabad. Today, I stand here to speak against the motion. The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. They may be found on the first or anywhere in between. And it is completely true in that it uses may, which simply states it is possible and nothing more. It is essentially also a different way of saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Neither a person's place in the classroom nor their grades in the school is an absolute reliable measure. Although grades usually to reflect reality. Sometimes they are a result of a lack of a challenge and so boredom and rebelliousness. There is no such criteria for the best brains in the nation. So the make clause you included justifies your question to some extent. A person with knowledge and interest about a particular field may be seated anywhere in the whole gen class. Neither the front benchers signify the genius minds, nor the backbenchers signify the foolish minds. So as such, there could be the best brains in the front rows, middle, or back. This is no criteria to judge. Classrooms are the first learning space outside the home. It is the foundation for educational achievements. It is a classroom which are the factories of potential engineers, lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs, and architects who shape physical infrastructure and quality of life in nation. The destiny of India is being shaped in her classroom. This has been pointed out by the Education Commission in 1964, and to that it may safely be added that the destiny of the classroom is being shaped in the institution of education with committed teachers. Does real learning happen outside the classroom? Definitely yes. Actually, learning is the most important obligation for all if you are the one willing to learn. Although the classroom plays an important role in the students' learning process, but in my opinion, it is not the only place where real learning takes place. To begin with, learning basically has its process. Since learning is an individual process, the teacher or instructor cannot do it for a student. Classroom is like a field where the seeds are planted to grow themselves. However, it is a place where students develop what they want their future to look like, as well as knowledge which they knowledge of the skills needed to reach that goals, such as literature, mathematics, physics, chemistry, history, and more. The students need personal space to learn those skills outside the classroom, such as laboratory and library. On the other hand, outdoor learning is one of the biggest part of education. It is a broad term that includes school project, environmental education, team building, leadership training, and plenty more about problem solving. By having to solve problem, the student practice learning rather than memorizing. Education is the ultimate key because it is not only the academics and subjects from our books. Learning is about passion, collaboration, creativity, and problem solving. Anyway, learning is much more than one can imagine. The most important life lessons we will ever learn will be from our.
Please wind up. You have only 1 minute left.
Yes, ma'am, winding up. Anyway, learning is much more than one can imagine. The most important life lessons we will ever learn will be from bad decisions we make. We learn from our mistakes and success by trial and error, which the rest of them don't usually occur in the classroom. To sum up, I wholeheartedly believe that learning comes from experimentation with life. Not only you can learn from your own experiences, but the experiences of the people you surround yourself with. Therefore, learning happens everywhere, inside and outside the classroom. Hence, I rest my motion over there. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivansh. So our next participant is from Pratap Public School, Sector 6, Karnal. To speak for the motion, we have Keshav Bhardwaj, and against the motion, we have Harpreet Kaur.
Ma'am, may I begin?
Yes, Keshav. Some disturbance from your side. Keshav, your time starts now. Your mic is off.
Actually, he's having some problem with the connection. So can you use my camera? Okay, sure.
Your mic is off, Keshav.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. May I start?
Yes.
When the teacher with a piece of chalk upheld takes the fangirls right, the backbenchers launch from the perpendicular into their adventurous flight. All the heads turn when a backbencher raises his hand. Nobody knows his potential. Nobody can understand. But when in life they face the trouble, bravely they stand tall. I can handle any situation, they say. I was a backbencher after all. Good morning to the Excellencies, respected jury members, and my fellow contestants. Today, I, Keshav Bharadwaj of Class 12 Medical, feel immensely privileged to have got this opportunity to support the motion. The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. The acclaimed American business tycoon, Bill Gates, even admitted, if you want to pass, ask the first bench students. If you want success, ask the last bench students. Despite this has been acknowledged by so many people, the role of backbenchers still remains unnoticed. No one even knows who they are unless they turn up on the front page of the newspaper because the taxpayer has been putting the bill for their duck house. Well, my competent adversaries might think that the backbenchers are indifferent about studies and hyperactive. But who doesn't know here about the world's most eminent business proprietor, Steve Jobs, who reached the pinnacle of success in spite of being an overzealous backbencher? Nobody can deny that. Friends, here's the popular opinion that the backbenchers love to sit on the last seats because of their diffidence, shyness, to dodge teachers' vision. But everyone sitting over here must have heard about Paytm's billion-dollar company owner, Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who went from rags to riches, was also an inconfident backbencher. It is assumed that the classroom becomes a fish market in the presence of these notorious backbenchers. But exactly what I see here is that they're the only ones who relieve the monotony of the classroom to a great extent. The worthy opponents of mine may claim that the backbenchers, the front benches of the class are more alert and agile due to teachers' constant supervision. But believe it or not, the backbenchers tend to give false appearance, and in the long run, they are unable to perform better without teacher surveillance. Moreover, there are numerous examples of eclectic success stories of Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, and Mark Zuckerberg. Some of the world's most thriving personalities who sat back but didn't fear setback. Certainly, within the past few decades, the education sector has grown by leaps and bounds, but the backbenchers are still underrated and underestimated by the teachers, millennial parents, and strangely enough, by themselves too. Some people infer backbench as delimiting the mind captured in a box, but I believe it makes you think out of the box. At last, I would like to say backbenchers are introverted, unruly, and a topic to mock. They're labeled future criminals just because they talk. Some people say they are the devil's pawn. Some people say that they're the devil's pawn. All the mouths will be shut when they'll rise like the break of dawn. All the mouths will be shut when they'll rise like the break of dawn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Keshav.
Ma'am, was it within 4 minutes?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Can we have Harpreet?
Yes.
Okay, Harpreet, your time starts now.
The giggling sounds and howl in the class, in putting their brains at malicious things. The last benchers are past. The quiet and shy fellows at the back, at the time of thinking, their brains, can they lag? Do these students really come to school to study, or they just sit at the back and chill with their buddy? Good morning, everyone. I am Harpreet Kaur from class 12 medical, and I am highly grateful to have got this opportunity to oppose the motion. The best brains of the nation may be found at the back benches of the classroom. Have you ever seen a doctor making map of a place or a cartographer performing a heart surgery? Obviously not. But my highly knowledgeable opponents say that they have seen students sitting on the endmost benches of the classroom, preoccupied with their chit-chat, evolving as the best brains and presenting ideas. Unbelievable. To all the learned personalities present here, do your parents ever advise you to occupy the hindmost seats in the class just because the best brains of the nation may be found at the last benches of the classroom? I can certainly say not at all. Flumping on the remotest chair in the classroom, never paying attention to the teacher, growling, whistling without any reason, eating during the class, and in fact, unshamefully abusing. In spite of knowing all these things, my antagonists confidently claim that these are the best brains. Yes, of course, they may be the best. Best at playing havoc with the school rules and best of making a nuisance of themselves. Now, some people with high IQ level would say that there are certain students who sit at the back just because they are shy or introvert or they do not want to mix with others. But tell me, how can a person with lack of confidence and poor interacting skills represent the best brains at global levels? Impossible. We all remember the renowned scientist and former president of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The word backbencher used for him still recalls and resounds in my mind. But let me tell you a fact, he was not a backbencher by choice, but due to caste discrimination. Isn't it ridiculous? Making him sit on the last seat by force and then finding one of the best brains of the nation at the last benches of the classroom. The youth of our nation might say that they create memories, but is it fair to have fun and enjoyment at cost of most important life lessons taught at school? This may sound harsh to their ears, but jollification and merrymaking cannot support their families and fill their empty bellies at later stage of life. Ratan Tata, a great industrialist, Kalpana Chawla, the first woman to go into space, and Mahatma Gandhi, father of our nation, were never backbenchers. If the most curious and bright students are found sitting in front, then how can we claim that best brains are found at last seats of the classroom? At last, I would like to summarize my point of view by saying, while doing immensely picture-tall talk, they miss the life lessons used in all walks. They might be shy or introverted, but nowadays they are considered outdated and underrated. Ideas from their mind pop about mischief, but if you still regard them as the best brains of the nation, I don't at all have this belief. I don't at all have this belief. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For our next speaker is from SPDAV Public School, Fatehbad. For the motion, Punya Batra is speaking, and against the motion, we have Arvi.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay.
Your time starts.
Okay. Backbenchers are not the rulers of last benches.
Is she audible?
11th SBP DAV Centenary Public School, Fatehbad, Haryana. Today, I take this opportunity to present myself in favor of the topic, The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. Now, consider this. If backbenchers are dull and troublemakers, does this mean that the first and middle benches are intelligent? Of course not. Well, it absolutely does make sense that the tall students should always be seated at the back so that the short students don't face any problem while looking at the blackboard. Also, generalizing backbenchers as a mischievous flock is absolutely unfair and unjustified. Sitting arrangements doesn't reflect one's character and intelligence. What matters is how attentive you are during your class proceedings. In most of the schools, rotation of seats are carried out to ensure that each and every student of the class gets to sit on the first as well as the last bench. It's quite natural these days that the teachers pay more attention towards the backbenchers. They are the ones who are repeatedly asked questions, and in this way, they come to understand the topic more clearly than the front benchers. The atmosphere at the last bench is quite soothing and silent as they do their work so quietly that no one even knows what they are doing. Moreover, backbenchers are way more productive and creative than the so-called intelligent front benchers, the ones who always want to study silently. Backbenchers are very good at time management and they actively take part in extracurricular activities. They just not indulge in basic time gossips, but they are masters in their opinions on debatable topics like global warming, politics, social issues, and other important things too. They also backbench. Sorry for the inconvenience. That being great extroverts, they take their own stand and make all the decisions themselves. I must say, inside every backbencher, there is an extreme debater. Teachers might forget the front benchers, but they always remember the backbenchers. Now, the next trait which I'm going to discuss is very important, that the backbenchers are always in a group, popularly called as gang. So I must say they are more social than the front benchers. Group of backbenchers is made with friendship, love, support, and pure happiness. Among these students, even if one student is good at studies, he or she will definitely make the other group learn the concept very well. Backbenchers are emotionally and mentally strong than the front benchers. They even handle their stressful situations in such an easy manner that they don't even feel it like a problem. They are quite cheerful and joyful even in their exam days. And the interesting fact about them is that they, with their presence of mind, answer the questions so quickly and confidently that the teachers get impressed. Backbenchers are all-rounders in extracurricular activities, whether it's dance, music, art, and sports, where studies can be an exception. At last, I want to say that I seriously doubt that being a backbencher can have any impact on your IQ level, but it surely does give your IQ a push at the back. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.
Thank you, Punya. Can we have Arvi now?
I'm audible to you?
Yes, and your time starts now.
Good morning to the respected guests. I'm RV from plus one grade from the SBP DAV Centenary Public School, Fatehbad, Haryana. And today I am here to express my views against the motion the best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. I respect Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's words that the backbenchers may perform the best in any field they choose. But at the same time, I do agree that it's not with the every backbencher. Almost all the backbenchers are not at all concentrated on the studies, whether it's a school or a college. And that's the only reason they sit on the last benches. These kinds of students are often distracted and are not at all concentrated on whatever the teacher teaches. They are physically present, but mentally they are somewhere else and are busy in doing or thinking anything else other than what is taught in the classroom. These kinds of students are often distractive, and due to their distractive nature, a teacher has to repeatedly ask them to be attentive in the classroom, and this spoils the classroom atmosphere. Even if some of the backbenchers want to understand the concept, the others of the same flock don't let them to do so. If they sit on the last benches, they need to pay more attention to listen to the teacher and to look at the boards. There is a famous proverb, hard work is the key to success, and hard work is not a part of a backbencher's life. The second trait of such students is that they are rebellious. They have objection on almost every order of the teacher, be it reading a chapter aloud, organizing tests, or any general discussion. They have all the objections and excuses to not do their homework and not obeying any school rule. Their lack of focus on the concept leads to lack of focus on their career and then lack of focus on their lives. Focus is the only trait which can transform a moron into an intellectual one. But these backbenchers enjoy their life in some light-hearted jokes and pass their whole time in making fun of others. There is a famous proverb, hard work is the key to success, and hard work is not a part of a backbencher's life. They are the ones who never know about homework, tests, and hard work is next to impossible for them. The students sitting on the front benches undoubtedly have more focus on what is taught and discussed in the classroom, and it gets imprinted on his mind. But at the same time, the students sitting on the last benches don't remember anything, and that's why they have to cram during the exam days, and thus they just get the passing marks. The teacher's position in the front of the class near the board makes it mandatory for a bright student to sit in the front to learn better. But there is always a flock of such students also who deliberately sit on the last benches so that they remain unnoticed by the teacher. The ones who want to lead the nation are always habitual of sitting or standing at the front, and the rest are the followers. So these backbenchers remain followers for their entire life. In the words of a backbencher, frontbenchers make notes and we make memories. So I would rest my words by saying that if a teacher gets panicked during the class, the chances are the backbenchers will be the reason for that. Thanks and have a nice day.
Thank you. So our next participants are from Mayur School, Noida. And speaking for the motion, we have Afreen Khan, and against the motion, we have Jash Jani.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start then.
Yes.
Luminescent, ingenious, and radiant Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was an Indian aerospace scientist who served as the president. He once quoted that the best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. My fellow contestants have argued against this veracious statement, labeling it as sporadic and full of flaws, and also juxtaposing the essence of the quote with mere words. I strongly oppose their viewpoints and accede with the above quoted words. A very good morning to one and all present here. Today, I, Afreen Khan, will be vociferously expressing my viewpoints for the motion. My heart and soul believes that the statement made by Sir Kalam is absolutely true and rational. One must delve deeper for unraveling the greater mysteries and quintessence of life. Last benches don't define a position in class, but an obnoxious and atrocious taboo still prevailing in our so-called society. We are worthy enough to be called educated illiterates because what we learn is not what we implement in class. It's really reprehensible that today's world believes in rote learning and not experiential learning. The thing which our educational system focuses on, I believe whether the student is weak or intellectual. The unique ability each student possesses is rare and intricate. carefully crafted like a royal diamond, preserved and under pressure from the society. It goes an amazing transformation from coal to the gem. Backbenchers are the most creative and bona fide of the lot and have a clear-cut motive. They do not run in the rat race of excellence, but try to reason with things and concepts. They question the questions and find the solutions, unlike learning with the sole purpose of achieving marks. I wholeheartedly believe that the backbenchers are gifted with a prescient vision and can judge and scrutinize the underlying problems instead of just marks. They're numbers on a sheet of paper. We have many real-life examples of people who have proved the age-old saying, destiny is not written, but created with perseverance and sheer impeccability and hard work. Bill Gates, the tech wizard who revolutionized the world with his superlative discoveries and inventions, was a self-proclaimed backbencher. Did it stop him to achieve excellence and stunted his growth just because he was once classified as a backbencher? I would love to narrate a short story crafted with beautiful life lessons. One day, a fisherman and an engineer were traveling. The engineer showed off his newly learned knowledge to the poor fisherman who was unable to understand a single thing. But during a tornado, the boat was about to sink and the fisherman saved him. The poor man just said a simple thing. The knowledge at this time I knew saved our life. It is the basic tactic of life. All our literary, bookish knowledge goes in vain if we fail to acknowledge the complex worlds and curls of livelihood. Life is enjoyable and worth a second chance. Slow down and enjoy the flavors of life. Often it is said that the wonders are created from the most unforeseen and unpredictable scenarios. My friends today have focused on the topic and proved its pros and cons, but with my subtle and forthright effort, I tried to present the world outside the competitiveness and rat race. Before I conclude, my friends, competitors, and the jury, lend me your ears and answer a facile question. Next time, if you see a backbencher, will you underestimate the decrepit child just because he sits at the back? He may be your boss the next time. Respect all, neglect none. That should be the motto of our life. Hereby, with full delight and conviction, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Afreen.
Should I start?
Yes, Josh. Your time starts now.
The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom, said our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. It is completely true, as it uses may, which simply states it's likely possible and nothing more. Hence, I find the statement to be contradicting, and surely it does not qualify to be considered as a generalized opinion. Good afternoon, respected judges, fellow speakers, and faculty members. I stand before you to express my views about the above statement made by Dr. Kalam. I choose to oppose what has been said and justified by my able opponents. The credibility and truth behind the statement given by my fellow debaters that the best brains of the nation can be found on the last benches of the classroom is invalid, full of flaws, sporadic, exceptional. The notion of such statement is based on the thought that the unbalanced system deters many great minds from trying to excel. Worth or futility of a brain cannot be measured merely by where one sits, but what one puts into, but by the insight formation and transformation of ideas into desired outcomes. It is quite shallow and inappropriate to say that the best brains can be found at a certain place in a classroom, whereas it has nothing to do with the place. Many children succeed even so by trying to work a way around their weak spots, which are quintessential for tests, however hard it may be. The fact that there are numerous factors and elements that shape a brain of a pupil in a classroom cannot be denied. If a list of these elements is made, I am of opinion that intellect, wisdom, curiosity, efficiency, determination, zest, motivation, etc. will find a space on the list. Is it valid to state that being a backbencher too is a vital catalyst to ensure a pupil to have brain? What a naivete it would be to say that the best brains of a nation can be found on the last benches. Is a class not inclusive? Best of brains can be anywhere in the classroom. There may be children who are talented but make no use of their talents, and vice versa. Will a worker who works against the most daunting deadlines head on be considered more valuable, even if his work might be at subpar against a talented individual who simply gives up? If the statement given by Dr. Kalam is assumed to be valid and true, does it not prove to be a big blot on the entire education system, teaching methods, approaches, and techniques of a teacher that fail to cater the need of society, and forcing the pupil to look forward to the back benches to be the beacon for the entire classroom and the entire society? In a nutshell, this statement falsely amplifies and generalizes a rare and exceptional case into truth. Let me make it clear that I mustn't sound that I'm against Dr. Kalam, but I find no common ground to admire the same. The statement given by famous personalities like Dr. Kalam should not be the only criterion for a statement to be credible and true, as it fails to reflect the inclusiveness of a classroom. I would wish to submit my observation with a set of questions for my able opponents. Would they deny the offer for a permanent seat in the front row of a classroom, despite the so-called truth that the best brains of the nation can be found on the last benches of the classroom? Considering it to be true, there should be no room for any tiff amongst the students regarding their place of sitting. Does it happen? I very humbly consider my opponents to be intelligent. Is it because they are backbenchers? With this, I rest my case.
Thank you. So our next participants are from Sheiling House School, Kanpur. And to speak for the motion, we have Anshika Dikshit. And to speak against the motion, we have Mohak Seth. Can we have Anshika Dikshit and Mohak Seth?
A slight request, please. I just wanted to there is an interruption in between the speech at the end of 4 minutes, right? So if that could not be there, and I assure you to, wind up my speech before 5 minutes. And if you can just tell me my time limit before, after I've spoken, it would be great if you can consider that, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anshika, your time starts now.
Okay. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, I stand firmly and vehemently for the given motion. So firstly, unlike my fellow opponents, I will not be reading out Wikipedia notes blindly, or just screaming over the microphone to prove my point. Rather, I'll be presenting my opinion and interpretation of the topic, because as mistaken by some of the participants, it is not a screenplay, but ultimately a debate competition. So let us begin with some facts first. Looking closely to the present times, it cannot be denied that the world is advancing, and it is moving to an entrepreneurial and innovation-driven economy. It is projected that by 2025, fewer people will work for one company as generalists, ladies and gentlemen, and instead will work for multiple companies as specialists. The world doesn't need obedient and compliant factory workers anymore. I read this somewhere and I actually like this quote, and that's why I'm quoting it here. So the world needs hackers, creators, innovators, leaders, and artistic youth, according to the dream of APJ Abdul Kalam. And you know what the best part is? The new economy wants it as well. According to the brain behind Microsoft, Bill Gates, it is always the creative ones who will give fuel to new discoveries and ideas. They may not know how to solve a quadratic equation or remembered how Napoleon fought or he died, but that's more to do with them not caring, right?
than to them not being able to succeed in their future or perhaps retaining that information. Steven Spielberg, ladies and gentlemen, the acclaimed film director, was refused entry into film school. You know why? Because he received too many C's at high school. Later on, he was affirmed as an author and was ranked as an author. He since then have had 17 Oscar awards, and it is not a small thing. You know, it's like a bad mark sheet or any failure for that matter does not imply that a person is destined to be a failure for the rest of their lives, and my opponents need to get that straight. More often than not, those who history best remembers were faced with numerous obstacles that they ultimately came down to the verge of giving up. Newton, everyone, it isn't unknown that he did not excel in his high school years and avoided being the front bencher. But now, here he is. The tables have turned. That man is the man behind the pages of our physics book. The backbenchers are often the ones who are found to question the validity of the academic system, ladies and gentlemen. They are not sold on the factory approach. I am sorry to affirm my opinion, but the present way of categorizing the students on the basis of their grades is itself a faulty system. Moving on, these big brains on the last benches don't walk between the lines without first questioning why those lines exist. And my dear opponents, kindly note, they are not submissive followers. Ironically, if you're obsessed with your grades, you are not thinking enough about your future. Okay, so now I would be stating something which requires a more broadened outlook for its comprehension. Pay slight more attention, ladies and gentlemen. So while the A and B students or the front benchers are listening carefully to understand what will be on the test, the C students are usually spotted looking out the window at the clouds and beautiful landscapes. They spend several hours each day to dream of a better world. They are working out important problems in their minds. They are the dreamers, and consequently, it's the dreamers that usually become the later conquerors. They prefer to jump right in and learn through their mistakes, through what the market tells them. The reason why so many successful entrepreneurs have been strugglers in their schools. They understand that failure is a beautiful teacher. The quote is definitely not made in the air that failures are the stepping stones towards success. Big brains, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to draw the attention of my fellow opponents here that big brains are the brains free from academic constraints and the ones that are not confined within the boundaries of non-experimental thought process. With this, I would like to rest my case here, stating that front benchers know how to solve all questions. But the backbenchers, ladies and gentlemen, essentially know how to tackle problems. That's where the difference lies, and that's what my opponents need to understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anshika. Can we have more said?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Just a moment. I actually have the same request as my partner, if it could be recognized as well.
Sure.
May I begin?
Yes, please.
So, very good afternoon to one and all present here. The topic for today's debate is the best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom, and I strongly and vehemently oppose the given motion. Ladies and gentlemen, let us start with a small talk. When I say the term backbencher, then most probably you'll think about a student who's either too weak in studies, is hyperactive, shy, or an introvert, or the most common, a misbehaving one. Ladies and gentlemen, to understand a student, we must understand the basic personality of that student. There isn't actually a proper method to label students regarding how intelligent they are on the basis of the seats they sit on in a classroom. Most of the students in my area, for instance, perform a constant rotation of seats. Well, now are we also blindly going to label the types of students that I mentioned before on the basis of these attitudes to be backbenchers, even if they don't get to sit on the last places in a classroom? In this competitive world, there is absolutely no time for a late realization. A backbencher may possess a very good brain, but Its proper usage is exhibited by an interactive student who listens to what the teacher says, understands the importance of it in his or her life. Now, coming to my next point, how are we actually so sure that the best brains can be found on the last benches? Let me take some examples for making it more clear. First of all, Vishwanathan Anand, the chess god of India. He was a meticulous student who always preferred to stay close to his teachers for better understanding. Second, none other than Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google and Alphabet. Quiet, nerdy, and studious is how his friends used to describe him. Now, he was always also the first student to be present in the class who never fell in a bad company, as per his math teacher, Molly Abraham. Both of them preferred the front part of the classroom, and we can see that they are too big for us to touch, aren't they? Now, some of my opponents may take the examples of famous personalities like Mark Zuckerberg, for instance, being a college dropout. But he himself was from Stanford University, ladies and gentlemen. He did not drop out of the college because he was not able to perform well. He wanted to do something that was totally out of the box. He didn't leave the college because he was not able to cope up with studies. It was his passion and creativity that helped him take that great leap. On the same note, let us also discuss the example of Sushant Singh Rajput, All India Rank 7 in the DCE examination. He did not drop his field because he wasn't able to cope up with it. It was his passion and determination. My worthy opponents may also give examples of other eminent personalities who are doing magnificently in their fields despite their bad school or college lives. I totally agree with them. But in a country having over 38 million people, or rather 37 million students, we can't rely on just 20 or 25 successful ones, now can we? It is like the race between a tortoise and a hare. The hare runs fast and sleeps near the finish line, while the tortoise diligently moves towards destination and wins. Here, the hare represents those people who possess a sharp brain, or the backbenchers, as per my fellow mates. They rely on their talent solely, but tortoise is a metaphorical example for a diligently working student. The frontbenchers, due to their constant interaction, tend to give their 100% in every way possible, ladies and gentlemen. We can't deny the fact that students who work hard are definite to get success in their lives. But we cannot just rely our entire future on shoulders of students who don't take responsibility seriously. In the end, I would like to say that backbencher is actually a false allegation on some students of a classroom. Talent can be found in anyone. It just requires efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohak. So our next participant is from Sanford World School, Greater Noida. And to speak for the motion, we have Apurva Singh. And to speak against the motion, we have Nandini Vash.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Okay, so your time starts now.
Better a witty fool than a foolish wit. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Apurva Singh and I am a student of class 12 from Sanford World School, Greater Noida. Today I take immense pride as I present my views for the motion before you all that the best brains of the nation might be found on the last benches of the classroom, as quoted by our former president, Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, in every classroom, there exist three kinds of students. First, the front benchers or the all-time winners. Then the middle benchers or the average Joes. And then there's our beloved backbenchers, also often known by the name of the class clown. Now, in an academic setting, it is generally assumed that all the front benchers are the best students, the most academically gifted. I mean, how could they not be when they are the ones who are out there scoring so well and passing all their examinations with flying colors, while the backbenchers, those losers, They are not able to do that. They hardly ever pass it, often hanging just by the hook. They are not the brilliance or the so-called smarts of the classroom. But let us all stop for a second and really think. Is this academic smart and real-world smart really the same thing? If you ask me, I would say a big fat no. There's a starking difference between the real world and the academic world. The academic world, it is so perfect, so beautiful. It has everything structured out to be that way. In an academic world, there's a clear system, a rule system, a transparent information. Everybody starts out on the same level. Everybody gets the same opportunities. In an academic world, if you study well, do your homework, guess what? You will do reasonably well. Their politics doesn't lead you anywhere. Neither does a huge social circle leads to a better GPA. Everything is structured to be fair in the academic world. Structure being a key word to the world where all these academic scholars, front benchers, all ace in. But guess what? Real world doesn't function that way. The real world is full of millions and millions of asymmetries anywhere that you take a look. Have you chosen the right career? Have you chosen the right path? Have you chosen the right kind of boss to work under? Do you know how to handle stress? Do you know how to handle a huge social circle? Are you creative enough to be present in that company? Are you creative enough to do something? Do you know how to handle a huge social circle while being stressed and also somehow manage to be creative while you are at it? So many asymmetries that exist in the real world where we all exist. Also, isn't it true that these front benchers and the so-called smarts are the ones that learn everything, each and every little thing by learning and reading? While the backbenchers, those same losers, they are the ones to go out and get their hands dirty in this real world. And that is why when in the world the going gets hard and there's no reading at hand, you don't have any guidelines, these front benchers, they are terrified, absolutely petrified. But those same losers, they are ready to fight tooth and nail to defend their honor because this is the very day that they have prepared themselves for. Also, how very dare we assume that the backbenchers are not academically gifted when some of the most genius, most brilliant brains ever known to humanity, be it Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, and even Albert Einstein himself, have admitted to be a backbencher time and time again throughout their lives. If you ask me, maybe all these backbenchers are misunderstood geniuses unless proven otherwise. Our society has this view against them, and that is why they are labeled to be idiots and whatnot in the classroom. Maybe that is the reason why that the Chinese have always said that geniuses and brilliance are the ones that present themselves to be a fool. Maybe we should all need to stop and think hard about this fact. Thank you all and have a marvelous day ahead.
Thank you, Apurva. Can we have...
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. And your time starts now.
Good morning. My name is Nandini Vash, and now that my dear friend Apurva has spoken, I would like to politely contradict her arguments because I do not agree with them one bit. You may say that the backbench has the best minds, but I believe that to be a very rare occurrence. People at the backbench are away from the attention of the teachers, so they try to create nuisance and disturb the class for the kick of it. Now, furthermore, they try to rope in the entire class with them. They try to make everyone join in on their nuisances and just create disturbances for the people who are trying to study and the teacher. Now, some may enjoy this. Some may enjoy this nuisance every once in a while. But to do it every day and to do it on such a great scale that it may cause issues for not just the teacher, but also the students who are trying their very hard. It may greatly affect their studies. Usually the students are the ones who are put at the back of the bench, not because they're genius, but because, not because they're a genius, but because, sorry, 1 second, I'm going to start the slide again. Okay. Now these students are put back there, not because they're a genius, but because they are weak in studies or they do not pay attention in class.
Now, how can you call someone who doesn't even like to study or just do anything in general a genius? They're put back there because I'm so sorry. Can I please start over? Can I please start over? I'm so sorry. Excuse me?
Yes, you can start over. It's okay.
I'm so sorry. Can you give me a countdown for the time?
You can start. I'll tell you when your time is over. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Sandhani Vash, and now that my dear friend Apurva has spoken, I would like to politely contradict her sentences because I do not agree with whatever she's saying one bit. You may say that the backbenchers have the best minds, but I believe that to be a very rare occurrence. People at the backbench are away from the attention of the teachers, so they try to create nuisance and disturb the class for the kick of it. Now, furthermore, they try to rope in the entire class with them. This may be fun for some, but it may greatly affect or annoy the students who are trying their hardest to study and get good marks for their futures. Usually, these students are the ones who are weak in studies, and they're put there because they do not pay attention in class. Huge emphasis on not paying attention because they do nothing but create nuisances for the teachers and the students. Sorry, I cannot do this.
Okay, we can move on to our next participant. So our next participant is from Guru Har Krishan Public School, Har Gobind Enclave. And to speak for the motion, we have Rishabh Sharma, sorry. And to speak against the motion, we have Rudra Bong.
Good morning, ma'am, and my dear friends. Today, I, Rishabh Sharma of Guru Har Krishan Public School, Har Gobind Enclave, is debating on the topic of the front benchers. The best minds of the nations may be found on the last benches of the classroom. So before starting, I have a question for you all, that how many of you have been a front bencher and scored 90% in your last exams? Well, I expected the answers from you. So let's start. You know that this is a famous quote said by our former president, Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was a very visionary and learned person, that he understood the potential of the last benchers and encouraged them by his golden words. He himself used to sit at the last bench, but he was also became the missile man of the India. In my opinion, it can be true, as the backbenchers are no doubt less serious about their studies, but are very creative and open-minded in nature, as they do not blindly follow the content. They also question it and think about it in a more rational way. They may not possess a very good image in front of the teachers, but they have a very much potential to perform good in their academics. They also get a little more attention of the teachers while teaching in the classroom. And the teachers also have a strong hope from them that they will turn their results around. They are also more ahead from the backbencher, from the front benchers in the extracurricular activities, which are most important skills which are demanded in the real world. I think they are more or less equivalent in the successfulness factor as compared to front benchers, as they are more practical and real life approach to the daily life and logical problems. I have many examples to justify my opinion, like Bill Gates, Einstein were the last benchers, but are they real-time personalities which justify the thought of Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam? I feel that last benchers are having an edge over the front benchers because of their mindset, as they are open-minded approach to every problem and solve it in many ways. And at last, I want to speak that the answer that front benchers may know the answer of every problem, but last benchers are capable to face every problem. The fruitful conclusion that we can derive from the debate and discussion is that both the front and back benchers can be the best minds of the nation if they possess a more realistic approach towards the problems and have a good academic foundation along with some extracurricular and vocational skills. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishabh. Can we have Rudra Bonk?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. And your time starts now, Rudra.
Okay. A very good morning to all, or good afternoon to all of you. I am Rudra Bonk and I am from class 12. Today, I am speaking against the motion of the best brain of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. Sir Abdul Kalam once said the best brain of the nation may be found on the last benches. This is the one such statement which is highly supported by our Indians as well. And whenever we will search something on internet regarding this word backbenchers, many supporting statement will fill the page. But I have never saw my uh, uh, any statement for front bench, and that is the reason to today I took this topic, because as always I wanted to do something out of the box. So coming back earlier, I was also a backbencher, a believer of this statement. I still now have a faith on this statement, probably because I have faith on Sir Abdul Kalam. But there was a time when this statement was meant to be true. Because at that time when Sir said this statement, the environment, the surrounding, the education, everything was different. At that time, every student was supposed to be a gem in their own. Even if some of the backbenchers at time were not that academically successful, but still as a human, they consist etiquette, manners, moral values, and ethics. But nowadays, when I see outside world, I can see only that our new generation is really stranger to these all terms. This statement is now applicable to a very low number of students because the building block of each student damage the majority of students. The backbencher group used to create the most chaos in the class, but that group was most innovative, smart, and sensible group of the class. But now, as the time changes, so do the students. If a class consisting of 40 students, I can assure you that only 2 or 3 students will be there, will have unique brain and sensible heart. And one can find this group of students sitting on the starting bench. Or in one word, I can say they are the front bench. I would not say that the backbenchers are good for nothing, not at all. But still, you will find innovative brains in the last, but probably they get lost and choose the wrong path later. Their innovation gets hidden, and now we can find most of the so-called spoiled brats and ill-mannered students at the end, who might have skillful brain but zero ethics. So according to me, a person without a proper guidance and ethics can be a best brain. And the ones boom we will find at the beginning are the serious and most successful out of the block. Even if they are not most creative ones, but by the hard work and the intelligence, they know how to walk on the better track to find the path of success. So this is what I feel, and seriously, what me feel very bad that things are getting changed so quickly. Although I am unable to support that backbenchers over front bencher now, but I still some corner of my heart say that era of Sir Abdul Kalam or the era of backbencher should come back again. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudra. So now our last participant is from Mother Khazani Convent School, Gautam and Priyanshu.
Am I audible?
Um,
Am I audible?
yes, you're audible, but I think there is a network issue.
Impartial judges and teachers, a very warm and pleasant good afternoon to all of you. I, Gautam of class 12, is here to present my views on the topic, the best brains of the nation might be found on the fact that we first define what a backbencher truly is. A backbencher is someone who can take their challenges head on, is able to think outside of the box of society restrictions, and absolutely hates sitting on the front bench. With reference to this, I agree with the saying of APJ Abdul Kalam that the best bench of the nation may be found on the last bench of the classroom. Last benches have gotten the common belief that only the most pathetic, irresponsible, and failure of the society sits there, the bench which are mostly ignored by the teachers. But I think it's the time that teachers, or rather society as a whole, accepts the fact that backbenches may contain talents that even the A+ students of the class might not have. Last benches consist of many minds, but if one was never made for academics, but if it was made for something much better, but if it was made to make some great sketches or write some amazing stories, but if the quiet kid sitting at the end of the class had computer skills which was beyond his peers, but if the quiet kid who was most of it had the skills to turn up and use them with just these amazing communication skills. Our past has seen many references where people who were deemed failures, those who were backbenchers, ended up doing so great that none of us could imagine. Mark Zuckerberg, who was once a backbencher, was many times by his peers to focus on his academics and forget about his passion. But instead of all the criticism he got, he focused on his work. He dedicated himself to his passion, and in the end, he ended up becoming one of the most youngest billionaires the world has ever known. There have been many similar cases of people such as great Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, or many great entrepreneurs. They all ended up doing something very great, due to which our history books ended up getting an extra lesson due to that. At last, I would like to say that it's not our school achievements or school academics that defines our future. It's our dedication towards our work, our skills, and our passion. I think it's time our education systems accept the fact that backbenchers might contain talents no one had ever known. Rather than just evaluating everyone on the basis of their academic performance, they evaluate them on other skills also before awarding them the tag of a failure. That's my view.
Impartial judges, talented teachers, a warm and pleasant good afternoon to all of you. I, Priyanshu of class 12, would like to express my views on the topic, best brains of the nation may be found on last bench of the class. I will speak against the motion. While I agree with most of the arguments my fellow debater has made, I beg to differ on the part where he gives a heroic definition of backbenchers and he glorifies them for not sitting on front benches and being indisciplined. I don't agree with APJ Abdul Kalam saying that best brains of the nation are may be found on last bench of the class, because I don't think benches define a student's potential. I don't agree with the part where he over dramatizes about backbenchers being outcast. There is impartiality done with them, but that is justified because all the backbenchers I have seen in my student life are the ones who just want to have fun while sitting on the last bench and don't want to participate in the learning happening in the class. So these backbenchers are not the so-called geniuses as they are presented to be, but just some attention-seeking teenagers. And yet some of them might have skills in which they are ahead of their peers, but they should also focus on the academics, because academics acquire a great part of the things we are supposed to do at school, and neglecting them is not glorified about the backbenchers. Focus on their skill while focusing on academics, they can become jack of all trades. And in my opinion, jack of all trades is always better than a master of none. He also makes the case of some famous leaders being the backbenchers like Mark Zuckerberg, but what people forget is that Mark Zuckerberg was a backbencher and a dropout from one of the most prestigious universities in the world, which is Harvard University.
Today, being a backbencher has become a meme, and anyone who is a student and goes to a classroom wants to sit on the last bench just so they feel like a part of this meme. And it's just that it should not be stressed more than that, and it should not make ignorant students who don't want to learn and just want to have fun make them feel that they are doing some brilliant thing. Instead, they should be told that they are being stupid and ignorant and they can do better. In my opinion, this whole concept of front benches and back benches is flawed. I don't think in real world exists a front bencher who is a bookworm and studies all day and a back bencher who is some genius. These are all some tropes we have inherited from movies, and we are better without them. So in the end, I would like to say that it is not the seat that defines our students' potential, but the hard work done in the right direction with persistence and consistency is what defines his potential in something. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam.
Indeed, it was a wonderful session, with all the teams putting across their points so strongly and clearly. Without further ado, I would like to request both our judges to kindly share the judgment sheet with Shalini ma'am so that the final calculation can be made. Once done, I would also like to request our judges, Ms. Vandana and Ms. Neha, to kindly address this gathering and share her views.
Yeah, hi, Palak. I have shared the list to Shalini ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, I just got it. Thank you so much, Neha ma'am.
Hi, Palak. I have also shared the list.
Thank you,
Let
ma'am.
me.
It was wonderful listening to all of you.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, it would be great if you can address the gathering and share your views.
Yes, Vandana ma'am, you do first.
Miss Vanda, I just wanted to ask you, which ID have you sent it? I haven't got it.
All right, let me look at it once again.
To the same ID from where I've sent you the invite, Outreach ID or some other ID?
I sent it on Outreach ID.
Outreach ID only. No, I haven't received it. Creative Minds, I've received one list.
I sent again, just see.
Okay, let me have a look, because in the meanwhile, I will just collate the results. So that's why, just give me a second. Why am I not getting it?
Yes, sorry, did I miss any question? I have sent it again, Shalini.
I'll just check once again. I haven't received, I'm just refreshing my screen. Why it is not coming? It is still not there in my inbox. Yeah, Vanda, I have still haven't received it at Outreach ID. Can you just try to send it at other ID, because I'm not getting it on Outreach ID.
Okay. What?
Send it on the other ID, s.gautam@dme.ac.in. s.gautam@dme.ac.in. Because I don't know, I haven't received it on Outreach ID.
Will it be possible for you to send me the message with your ID?
Sure, we'll do that. Give me a second. Yeah, I've received it. I received it on Outreach ID. Just
all right.
Thank
Wonderful.
you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it takes time to go from Delhi to Noida.
Yeah. I got it. Thank you.
If you could please address the gathering.
Sorry, Palak, was that question for me?
Ma'am, I request you to please address the gathering and share your views.
Right. So first of all, a wonderful session. Thank you so much to all the students for coming here, and it was impressive. It infused some passion in me, and I was talking to some of my college and school friends. Where were we exactly sitting? Because after 21 years, I don't remember where exactly in the class was I sitting. Right. So it was passionate debate. Some of you have gone out of the way and just beyond the topic, thinking out of the box, which was beautiful. I don't know where the best brains are found, but what it takes is passion and collaboration, which we all should focus on, and that is what matters, in life. Good topic though, very interesting. I don't know after the next topic can be, if best brains are found in people who don't turn their videos on. That can be the next topic. I saw many students who were hesitating to turn their videos on. So that was very interesting. Probably that can be your next debate topic. And the spirit with which all of you are coming, that is impressive and that is interesting. Keep the spirit high. Life is a marathon. It doesn't start or end with the school. It is just the foundation. It's long way to go, many, many years that you will be spending, and none of the year can be wasted. So every year you have to depict your passion, you have to live your passion, breathe your passion, whatever it may be. Doesn't depend if it is a scientist, doesn't depend if it's a neuro surgery, doesn't depend if it's IT, doesn't depend if you are actor, producer, whatever. What matters is, do you have a fulfilling life? What I saw across this debate, and that was very touching, was that everybody sort of idealized APJ. That is a man who has from beginning till end breathed and lived what he really wanted to. So if that is what we all are, whether it was for the motion or against the motion, right? That one example came very upfront, that was up there on the face for everybody. So that is and that man was working till the very end of his life. So one success, starting from loading the missiles on bicycle, taking them to the station, assembling them, from that step, from that age of his life to an age when he, was finally delivering a lecture when he was at the very last stages of his life, right? The rigor, the patience, the collaboration, the know-how, the outreach that he had with not just his colleagues, or with not just what he was doing himself. He was thinking beyond himself as a person. And that made him think big, bold, beautiful, beyond, and for the nation, for people, for students, for young generations, for everybody. He became my example to be idolized. Money making business is earning money is very, very different from being intellectual. I will not say which one is good or which one is bad. We can have probably a next debate topic on that kind of thing. But what really, really matters is, are you having a fulfilling experience in life? So some of you, I saw, putting posters in the background. Yeah, right. Some of you coming with very nice poems. All right. So you saw something beyond the topic. So it was not, you didn't confine yourself within the topic, which was wonderful. And that sort of, is that you're not thinking within the boundaries. You're thinking outside the boundaries. You're bringing a wholesome experience, which is what makes it very special. So keep it up. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed, and all the best.
Thank you, Shalini ma'am and DME group of college for having me. Actually, I have written so many things. Some of the student they faces internet का है, and if you talk about the success, only 2% of population over 130 crores, so they have all the money. If you talking about all the success, I must tell you, if you talking about the APJ Abdul Kalam, they don't have money, but they have like ma'am said, intellectual things. So it like the topic is the backbenchers and the front benchers. I am sometimes I don't like the Hindi and Sanskrit, so I was a backbencher that period. So uh, where to sit, it remains like school only. But when we saw in outside of the school, we just saw your behavior, how you tackle the problems, problem skills, decision making. That shows your actually overall personality. That doesn't like sense actually the backbenchers and front benchers. That make no sense actually. I really must ask you what you have learned from these activity. Like it takes so much time, it takes so much time, coordination, and it takes so much effort to collaborate all the school students, teachers, and talk to them. So what you actually learn from these activity, I must tell you, you think, you analyze, you research what you speak, it actually implement. If you are not implementing, you are just reading the computer screen, you are just reading anything, it doesn't make sense to like it all waste. Like like it all wastes the energy, coordination, and time. What you speak, you implement, and be a human. And these are the human, like humanity है नहीं लोगों के अंदर. तो being a like human, and please make sure what you have in schools, it like different in what I used to say to my mom कि स्कूल कर लेते हैं, उसके बाद कॉलेज में मस्ती करेंगे, एंड सुबह उठने का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बट जैसे ही मैं स्कूल मैंने खत्म किया, द कॉलेज इट्स लाइक टफ, वेरी टफ जॉब. लाइक देयर इज नो एज सच टीचर्स, and there is no as such teachers to guide me where I have to buy the book, what is the book, what is the subjects. Like I don't know even the like classroom, and everything is like mess after school. So it was you have to have that problem skills, problem solving skill, decision making, and the time management is very important for your future. These are the like facts you have to implement your life to be it all you have a different perception about the success and success stories. So you just believe what you want to achieve. That's all, and all the best for exams. So and if you like if you want to some tips for the exams, I really just noted down the revision. And revision most of the times you just read and just go to the exams, and till the bring bell you just read and ऐसे ऐसे करके you read. So revision is also important. So please revise your all the curricular, so you can go with go good marks. And the presentation is also important for the exams. So these are the tips for the exams, and all the best.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, for those words of wisdom.
Thank you both the judges for sharing their views. I'll take, I think, 5 more minutes to finalize the results. So just be there for 5 minutes. I think, Roli ma'am, if you are there, we can probably play some videos, and
Sure,
just 5
ma'am.
minutes, we are
Sure.
declaring the results,
Sure.
right? Please be there.
Like if you people any doubt, please ask.
Everybody is eagerly waiting for just one thing, the result. But wonderful. Most of you spoke very, very passionately. Very nice.
The first impression that comes to our mind about any college: tall buildings, big classrooms, large lobby areas, thick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects. Nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona, cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.
So students usually should ask a lot of questions. Should not be so quiet, such a silence in the whole call.
Yes, you if you want to ask anything.
Come together and excel. DME was established as an institution for the entire community to come together and excel. We have students who come and learn in a very good facility. We have faculty who are not just well qualified and competent, but are also constantly motivated to teach their best and also pursue research. For well-wishers to come here, for intellectuals to have a place here and contribute in this mission of providing the best education to the young minds in all the courses that we offer: law, media, and management. In making this happen, as the management, we are constantly trying to improve our facilities. Our infrastructure is international in nature. We've tried to bring together all the relevant stakeholders to participate in this mission. We've tried to ensure that the workings and processes of this institute are fundamentally sound. It is our hope that those who have the desire to succeed find a place over here and pursue this goal of excellence. We motivate all of them in achieving this task. If you're associated with DME or wish to get associated, then I welcome you all over here and I wish you all the best.
Yeah. If you want to ask anything about the media, journalism, you can ask. No questions. People are not inquisitive, Vandana ma'am. They students are very going, because I am roaming around all the schools and the teachers are complaining. They people are very inquisitive.
Since
Ma'am,
face this
they
challenge,
don't
you know,
have
we
any
sort of,
questions. So
yeah,
I'll
we
just
sort
play
of,
another video.
I just was saying, you know, I work in industry. I've been working for past 20 years, and we are sort of bringing business from the world to India. Okay, a lot of jobs are getting created. Data consultancy services you might be knowing. So when we work with the customers, you know, our guys are really, really knowledgeable. I don't know what happens when we are in the customer call, when we are with people outside. If you don't know the topic, if you don't know how to crack a conversation, those ice-breaking sessions, where you can have short dialogues, probably that helps because somewhere when you are talking, that also depicts that yes, you have understood the other person, you are attentive, you are knowledgeable, you are able to comprehend what is going on, and on the flow in the moment, your mind is ticking and thinking, and it's asking those engaging people in conversation, not really asking them question, but basically engaging people in conversation. So that skill is again a skill, you've got to be developed. And that general awareness of your environment is very, very important. Where you are, apart from your topic. So like I just appreciated, right? Some of the kids, and that takes you apart. Sorry, somebody saying something.
मैं believe कर रही हूँ.
It's crosstalk, I guess. Yeah, so going and thinking of on your toes, putting some feet into it's a good thing. It's a good thing. School is taking over now. Just 1 year, 2 year, done. After that, it's all what you speak. The more you speak, the more you shine.
Vanda ma'am, I must tell you the same about me as well, because I studied like very hard, but like it doesn't shows in sheets. So my thought process was very practical, and the school have like a theory that you have to write on particular topic, and you have like 2-3 paragraph you have write, but my perception is to give the examples, to the give the practical knowledge. So when I moved to college, then I moved to an MBA, then I get to know the practical knowledge is more important. It doesn't mean what is the marketing you need to have like a definition you need to know, don't know, because when I go to the interview, I am like a very shy person. I was very shy person, and very inconfident person. So now I am in media, and I have to interact most of the like principals, most of the educators, and I am in like educational beat. So I have to interact on the daily basis to delegates. So I was very like keen to learn, and I observe actually, and I just discuss things to what are going on the like in society, and the observe to the students how they behave, students to observe teachers, principal, so how they interact to the students. These are the facts, and being in media is very tough to handle people. So if you want to like if any student want to go into the journalism, so don't think about the money, and it's all about your passion because like journalists have like very less salary. So if like if you really want to have passion, and if you really want to work hard, there is no as such time that you have 9 to 5 job. These are like media person have don't have time for family or something. So you need to know the facts after graduation or after your professional course. You even work harder for your family, you even work harder for your life, and every time you have to struggle here and there, so it's very tough. And simultaneously, if you enjoy the problem solving things, and if you have decision making part, so it helps to succeed in life. So not to like them in bookish knowledge, go to go to the practical knowledge. So these are the like important for your future. If anybody want to ask something, if anybody have query, let me know.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, hi Apurva.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good.
What is happening is that right now I do understand whatever you and Vanda ma'am both have spoken is very correct about marketing and about following your passion and not really, just like paying attention to the monetary side of it. But I think right now, because of the fact that result is about to be declared, we are all just super silent because we are scared to our wit. We don't know what is going to happen, so we are silent. So I'm really sorry about that. I just have
Yes, yes.
and it's great to see that you both are imparting such knowledge about journalism and marketing, because of course we are all 11th and 12th standard students over here. It is exceptionally great for us to get to know about these kind of fields also. So I just had to give a note of thanks and also apologize at the same time.
Yeah, Apurva, thank you for your word. Thank you.
So there were a couple of poems, right? There were two poems. Harpreet, Keshav, both of them came up with nice poems, right? Devangi, Mudita had a
Thank you,
nice
ma'am.
background. Yeah, very nice background by Mudita and Devangi. Outstanding passion shown by Mohak, Apurva, right? So rather some of you moved me, and that's how your impact was. And so there are a couple of other names I'm not listing, otherwise I'll end up listing, everybody here. But so maybe you guys can come up and say what made you think. I think Anshika came up with good passion. The way she started was impressive. And so what was going on in your mind? What made you think out of the box? Who coached you? Who guided you?
Ma'am, may I share my thoughts?
Go ahead, Anshika. I was expecting that from you.
Ma'am, I have from the very beginning of as a student since class 4th and 5th, I guess, I've been into this oratory thing and I'm very passionate towards it as well. So, one thing I would just like to tell my friends who all participated today, it's okay to forget the debate, the point of, when you're speaking, and we're all learning here. It's all an experience. So one thing that I noticed, and, I just wanted to tell it, it's not, all the time, it's not just about coming to the microphone and, speaking your points in a high pitched tone. And, sometimes you just have to actually be more research work and well researched kind of that. And talking about how I got that passion, while looking at some of you were speaking I was taken aback. So I just wanted to say that it was more of a debate competition than a screenplay. So it would have been great if I would have personally found out different points in people's speeches rather than the different monotonous tones. So yeah, that's all. And ma'am, as judges, all of the knowledge that you right now imparted, and it was great interacting with you. So it was a great experience and all. Thank you so much.
It was. Screenplay, by the way, is important. Otherwise, so many actors and actresses will not be there.
But that would
we are still more than APJ prepared. I'm happy that nobody brought out movie actors. We actually got out scientists, but I hope we don't keep scientists to our debate topics. We sort of imbibe and implement them in real life. Otherwise, in real life, it's the action heroes, superheroes who sort of take the limelight. Mudita, you want to say something?
No, ma'am, I'm just saying that I had a really great experience, and it was actually my first debate, to be honest. And I really enjoyed. I was scared at first, but I slowly got comfortable in it. So I really enjoyed. Thank you so much.
We didn't feel it till the time you said it. All right. So how come those poems came up, Keshav? You wrote them?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, it was a collaboration. I took the ideas from the internet. So I also write a few poems. I merged them. That's how it came up. So I took it from the internet, from different sites, and then merged the ideas together.
Sorry, the audio quality is not allowing me to hear. I don't know if I'm the only one.
Ma'am, actually, it was a collaboration from all the websites. From some of the websites, I took the ideas and I collabed them.
Right.
And I do write too.
You do write too. Oh, that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. If it was self-composed, it was really nice. So all of you have decided where all you are set for your life? Where are you going?
Now you have asked a too deep question, I would say.
Apurva
So
is
everybody's.
Apurva is eagerly waiting actually.
I'm sorry, ma'am, what?
You are eagerly waiting for result. I'm like
I guess everybody is, we are all on our toes, I
those
guess.
on your face.
I think Shubhi, Vidya, so many other names are there, right? Apurva. The list is never ending. What is going on in your life? What do you plan to do? All are big. So what's the majority of the subjects which you guys have taken? It's all the PCM batch or humanities or commerce?
Me and Shubhi are from humanities batch.
Right.
I come from commerce, no mathematics.
Who said that? Sorry, I missed it.
Ma'am, Apurva Singh, I said that. Mathematics.
Mathematics, okay.
No, ma'am, without mathematics.
Actually, without mathematics, okay.
I don't mess around with maths.
Ma'am,
I like that.
I just
go on.
I just wanted to ask a simple question to all my friends and to all the people present here. We are in 11th grade, or some of us are in 12th. So and most of us have not yet planned what are we gonna do after 12. So is it normal to not have a plan, or am I just not that ahead? So I'm a commerce with math student, and I still am not. I'm still figuring out what I really want to do, and stuck between all the standards of jobs and everything. So if anyone wants to share anything about that.
Yes, Anshika, it was if you delay with the time ki abhi I don't have plans, so plan yourself for the because of the if you think practically there are so many students passed out after 12th, and they go to the college, they go for the professional course. So if you don't have plans, so that is not good actually sign for what I think, but I don't know your perception because
And
you
ma'am,
have.
and sorry to interrupt, and what if we have a number of plans and we're just figuring out that one plan to pursue which could just hit the bullseye?
There is no as such number of plans, because people who build the plan B always not confident about the plan A. So you have to have a confident it don't think after commerce people are going for the BCom or BBA. So it's all about your passion on what you want to do for the society, and what you want to do that. So do that, because if you pressure if parents are pressurized go for BCom or every parents are pressurized at least have some graduation thing. So after that you must go for the job. I don't make it doesn't make sense go to the BCom or and anything what you want to passionate about and plan, because there is so much competition, because like in Delhi and any metro cities there is so much competition if you are talking about. So plan yourself and analyze yourself what you have what you have in your head, where you want to go. So plan yourself. There is no as such. You have 10 plans.
So I will not. I'll not dampen. I saw. Suddenly the smile has gone from Anshika's face, and I don't like that. Okay. So here is my 2 cents. Okay. You whenever there is a festival, right? You have a festival in your home. What you want? You want to eat so many dishes. Do you eat all of them at the same time, or do you schedule them, right? So you can't have all the five meals, seven course meal or 5 course meal. You can only eat that much. That's the max you can, right? Beyond that, you have to take it something for day after tomorrow, maybe after a week or 10 days. So you can't eat everything in one go. Is there just one dish you like on this earth and will keep eating every year of every day of every year? No, you will not, right? So same is with life. Even if you plan or not plan, it is going to give you surprises for sure.
Yeah,
Right?
ma'am, actually, basically what I meant to say was with a lot of plans was that, light interest counts, I guess, in today's time. People usually pursue a profession where they're interested in. So all I wanted to convey was that, there are so many line of interest that I can see for myself,
Ma'am, can I say something a little
Yeah.
contradictory to Neha, ma'am? First of all, hi Anshika. What
Oh,
I
hi.
personally feel like, I'm a 12th standard student. I don't have any experience of life, unlike Neha, ma'am. But I just feel like along with the plan, allow yourself to be flexible. Don't just
Exactly that.
that you
Yeah.
have a fixed plan and you are not going to change, because that would limit your creativity, because you
Right.
don't know at what time you start feeling that okay, this is not where my creativity lies, it lies somewhere. So today we had so many example of people like that. Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg, they had a plan to go to Stanford, get a degree and get a job, but they ended up changing. So don't limit
Right.
yourself by that plan. Just,
It's life, then that happens, and you cannot control it. So
yeah,
that's what I said. That in today's world, I think it's important for all of us to be adaptable to changes, because
yeah,
last year taught us a lot, in this regard.
adaptable, be flexible along
But
with
I
it.
like it. You should have options. I like it. If you short-term plan, long-term plan. What's my next step? I can't wait and to experiment the entire world to go reach my long term. So there has to be a next step, which is my short-term plan. There has to be a long-term, during the course, probably, let's say I have taken commerce. Is it sufficient for me to take commerce? Is it sufficient? I was a science student actually. Was it sufficient for me to do science? I studied physics, physics honors. What I'm doing today is more of sales, marketing, and I don't know what all, right? But how life, goes ahead is very, very, it'll change. It'll change on its own. You don't have to think about it. Life knows how to take care of you. You have to take care of
Yeah,
yourself.
because
Personally,
same with me happens in Vandana ma'am and Anshika, because I was in school. I'm like having a PCB. So मेरा ये thought process था कि I want to go to the medical line, but फिर नंबर नहीं अच्छे आए, फिर आगे नहीं हुआ चीजें, तो मैंने फिर मेडिकल कोचिंग किया। फिर उसके बाद जो है मैं मीडिया में आ गई। इट लाइक turns like in different way, because I have like certain different plans, but I am in different field. So like you have in certain, but you are, if you are desperate about your self, that because मेरा 12th के बाद यही था कि मुझे मीडिया में जाना है, because but I am pressurized with like social things, like I have to do the engineering thing and I have मेडिकल थिंग। सो लेकिन मेरा था पैशन कि मुझे मीडिया में जाना है, थिएटर में जाना है। तो उसके बाद जब मुझे अवेयरनेस इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट, लाइक इफ यू आर अवेयर अबाउट द सो मेनी थिंग्स अबाउट इंजीनियरिंग एंड मेडिकल, सो इट हेल्प्स इन योर करियर एज वेल। अंशिका?
Yes, ma'am, I'm totally, agreeing with your point. Because I
Because
have
May I
personally
also say
been,
something?
I've personally been that student from the very beginning, who has academically, I was fortunate enough to always score well, and with the same, in the same time, co-curricular has always attracted me a lot. So,
Yes.
creating that balance in life and being flexible and adaptable and having a numerous line of interest for yourself, I think that's a win-win situation for us as students.
In the school, my marks has been like fluctuate. But in college, I topped the college. Then I came to Delhi and struggle a lot as a like newcomer, and then I get selected. And I have like it was a very struggling time, since like when I was in like I just in 2009 I came in Delhi. That was a recession time, so it was very hard to get the job. And but if you go to the like different cities, they have like they have like good personality, and they have like good dressing sense and everything. So एक 12th के बाद you have to enhance your personality, enhance your and everything, to present yourself at least like towards to the interviewer, towards to the employer. So work accordingly, and practical knowledge is like more important, I always say, rather than is bookish knowledge. So these are the facts that you people have to implement in your school life as well. Don't just एक वो रट्टा मार होता है ना कि बस स्पेलिंग याद कर ली और फिर उसके बाद कुछ पता नहीं है उसका कि क्या.
Ma'am, there is sorry for interruption again. There's a slight observation that I've seen, and it's just a point of view that I want to present. I feel that bookish knowledge, practical knowledge is important, no doubt. But I feel that bookish knowledge is something that's the only thing that would take you to places where you can actually implement that practical knowledge. So, you know, I guess that bookish knowledge is still, you know, on a higher place and a higher level than practical knowledge, because that would take you places where you can actually implement practical knowledge.
I feel like that observation of yours take us back to the debate. First benchers or
Exactly. Right. Even I went back to that debate content.
I'd like to address Anshika and Apurva's the elephant in the room that everyone is talking about, that if you should, whether you should have a particular aim in or a goal in 11th and 12th standard or not. I'd like to mention Chetan Bhagat's example. He was an engineer, but he eventually took literature, and then he became such a famous writer. So I think that it's just your passion, and we don't know what life has in store, and we should just let the doors open and just give our best and try in every field whatever possible.
Agreed.
Be flexible about it. Don't mind yourself.
May I also say something?
Go ahead, Ayushi.
I'm an introvert person, and after listening all the students interacting with you, I got inspired, and I just want to present my views about today's debate. That point you discussed, that what we should have.
You're debating after the debate.
No, I'm not debating. I just introduced me formally once again. It's like
it is nice. Your voice is so sweet. Don't hide it from the world.
I was like that too. मैं भी ऐसी थी बिल्कुल school time पे.
I'm like you all said that we are in 12th and we should have plans for the future, but who knows that jobs must change. We should have new opportunities. What we have today may not be tomorrow. What we get tomorrow may not be today. So we should not constrict ourselves to our boundaries. We should always have we should focus on the present. We should think about the future, but in comparison we should what we have now, we should focus on that and explore more through us. And one thing is meditation. When we meditate now, we go beyond the world, beyond the out of the box, right? As if actually before today's debate, I was very nervous. I was not able to. I had zero confidence that would I be able to speak, but I also got nervous between the debate. I covered it up. I don't know how I was represented that time, but I was very much inspired by Anshika, and I wanted to be like her, somewhat.
Oh my God, this is a big compliment. I mean, thank you so much. I don't even know how to react to this. I mean,
Congratulations.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I
You,
would like
you
to...
are role models for each other.
oh my God, that was so unexpected. Thank you so much, Ayushi. It was great knowing your thoughts. Thank you so much.
You're really welcome, Anshika. And I'll surely be like
I
you
think the
next
moment
debate.
has come, what you all are waiting for. I've already shared the results with both the judges. So before they announce on the judges, we have been joined with our director, Sir, Ravi Sir. So over to you, Palak.
It was great discussion session, but moving forward, I would now like to request Honorable Director Professor Ravikant Swami Sir to share his views and thoughts on this session.
Okay, so I am being reminded of my school days when I participated in a debate, and it was on dowry, because dowry deaths were on a rise during the 80s. So I had an easy task, because I was to speak against dowry, which was little easy. But the student who won the debate was the one who took the other side. So I again thank all the schools, all the students who are participating in today's program. And students, you are in 11th and 12th. So very soon you would be approaching that turning point, which we call the shift from school to the college. So you are very close. You are slowly approaching that turning point wherein you will be taking admission in a college, and that is a decision which actually shapes the entire career of a person. So be prepared for that, and congratulations to the winners. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The winners are yet to announce. So I have already shared the details with Ms. Vandana and Ms. Neha. So I think one by one, you can go ahead and declare the results, because it was all your effort. You have put in so much of effort sitting here for last 2.5, 3 hours. And now that we are at the end, so probably we can go with the first prize for Ms. Vandana. Why don't you go with it?
So congratulations for the first prize. It is Anshika Dikshit.
Well done, Anshika. Well done.
Well
First
deserved.
prize 4 goes to Anshika Dikshit. Second 4, Ms. Vandana, you can announce both the 4, and then Ms. Neha can announce both the against prizes.
Right. So first 4 was Anshika, as we all know now. Many congratulations. Second 4 is Mudita Singh.
Mudita Singh. Yes, DWPS. Yes.
DWPS.
So both the winners, so many congratulations. Ms. Neha, over to you for against prizes.
Ma'am, please announce. You announce. So I will congratulate them, please.
Okay. Ms. Vandana, you can go ahead with it then.
Right. So first against is Mohak from Shelling Kanpur. Second against is Jesh and Jesh Mayur.
Just from Mayur School. Right. So congratulations to all the winners. So first team is we all
from
know
Kanpur School.
Yeah, Shelling School, Kanpur. And second team, winning team is Ms. Vandana, you can announce it.
So second against is Jesh. I can see Jesh on the screen. I can see the smile on his face.
Yeah,
so
second
I think
team. Second
right,
team.
Okay. First team is Shelling and second team is Mayur School.
Mayur School,
so
yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yep. And we also have 4 consolation prizes. So you can announce them also.
So 4 consolation prizes are Apurva
from Sanford.
Afreen from Mayur, Keshav, Harpreet from Pratap School, and Devangi
from
DWPS.
So 4 consolation have gone to Apurva, Sanford, Afreen, Mayur, Harpreet, Pratap School, and Devangi, DWPS. Yeah, congratulations to all the winners. Yes. So at the end, I would like to say thank you to all the participants, all the students who have joined in. I know 11th, 12th class are pretty, tough classes. Many of you are going through your exams, pre-boards and all. I particularly know of Sanford School, जिनकी टीचर का फोन आया था कि 10:30 तक एग्जाम है, तो उनका थोड़ा सा लेट रखना participation. So kudos to you that straight away after your exam you were able to join in for this debate competition. So keep up the spirit. And I think all of you are winners. We just have to decide first or second. So, but all of you are the winners in the true sense that you have taken your time to join in. I would also like to thank all the teachers who have supported, motivated the students to join in, to participate in this session. Last but not the least, I would like to thank both my judges who have taken time out of their busy schedule. I know both of you are quite a hectic schedule, and I was following up with you, both Vanda and Niha. Thank you so much for being here, listening patiently to all the students and getting them engaged when we were calculating the results. So that was...
Thank you so much for having me, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Ravi sir, for all the dedication and for all the support and the guidance for curating these kind of events. Thank you, Purva ma'am has just left. So thank you, Purva ma'am, also the HOD of DMS. So thank you, all of you. Have a wonderful day. You will all be getting your vouchers, your certificates very shortly in your school, right? Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Thank you.